Thank you, Michael. Fergus Watts has been a star up forward with 3 goals, along with a welcome return to form for Mark Passel also with 3. Peter Fiacci, Powell, King and Sickler all with singles. And for the Magpies, it's all singles. Eilert, Cockatoo, Collins, Matthews, Biarchi and Clive Waterhouse just starting to get involved there late with a late goal in that second quarter.
Now, interestingly, despite the lead, the 28-point lead for the Eagles, the inside 50s are the same. They do get a significant advantage in the free kicks. Centre breaks again, all very even. But you see that they, and even the stats overall with the kicks and hand passes.
Yeah, probably usage of the footy and decision-making. You see Mark McKenzie being really clean, hit his targets as far as the Eagles are concerned. And Port Adelaide just haven't had that cleanness around the footy they would have liked.
Well, how's your tipping going? It'd be very interesting to see how this match results. Of course, we've had a few upsets already this season. Rory O'Brien from Victoria, the winner of the tipping this week at abc.net.au/SA footy. Get on the web and get your tips in. And still, it's very close at the top, as you'd expect. Still relatively early in the season, having completed just 7 rounds of football. Mark Soderstrom, you're on the boundary. What have you heard from the halftime, well, dressing room appearances?
Well, fortunately for both sides, no injuries to report from either side. And the rain came down just on cue as the players ran back out to start this second half. Well, the Eagles, they look good, don't they? We spoke to Ron Fuller before the game, and he wasn't really concerned with what had happened. I'm sure losing the past 2 weeks, he was concerned with that, but he didn't seem too worried at all. He just tweaked a few little things. And an injection of some new faces, of course, Paul Lindsay, Stokes, and also Shattuck back into the side. The Eagles look good. They've got Watts up forward, really running the forward line, and also Mark Stevens looking after the defence. So they look good. Port not a long way behind it. They have been inaccurate up forward. They need a little more from Clive Waterhouse, but they certainly are still in this game. So let's see Michael Maney here with the second term.
Thanks, Mark Soderstrom. Try and stay dry on the boundary. Can the Magpies get back 27-point deficit? We go into the third quarter. Sikalella, normally good in this situation. Shark by Polton for Port Adelaide. Wayward handball. Knights just got a handball out looking for Powell, who got the staggers in the end. Treby needs to use his non-preferred. Ball just touched off the boot. McKenzie. In goes Knights, non-preferred. His right boot. It's a tumbling old ball. And Stokes in the right place at the right time. And it just proves if you go forward and kick long, Crummers can crumb the ball, and if you're in the right place at the right time, you take a mark and kick a goal, and Matty Stokes shouldn't miss from here.
I don't think importantly they didn't muck around with the footy here. They didn't just, you see Knights just get it on his boot there. Didn't really worry about trying to persevere looking for a handball. And Stokes takes a relatively easy kick and kicks a relatively easy goal.
An early nail in the coffin by Matthew Stokes. Kicks his first for the afternoon. He's been thereabouts, Matty Stokes. He's been terrific around the ground and normally caps off his work with a few goals.
It was very good early when the game was there to be won, and in the heat of the battle in the first quarter, got many telling touches and just found himself working his way forward into space. As I said, Knights is impressive. Just threw that on his boot and got it going the Eagles' way. And as you can see, Matty Stokes enjoys kicking a goal.
13 possessions for Matthew Stokes. The only ones with more for the Eagles, Luke Powell 16, Mark McKenzie 15.
Last season at Alberton, the Eagles won by 28 points over Port Adelaide. They're at 33, the margin at the moment. Umpire comes in, adjudicates a free kick to Steed. Quickly off, he goes to Clayton. Polton on this side of the ground is loose. He waits. Waterhouse leads, and too much pace he's got, but the ball falls short. Here's Brown, overran it. Now the ball trapped in underneath, and we'll get a ball up, will we? Yes, we will, in front of the Port faithful. Look, Chris Knights coming off the ground, quickly scores from other grounds. We'll start with South Adelaide against West Adelaide at Noarlunga. 11 points in favour of South. 3-3-21 plays West 1-4-10. More scores to come, just wait for it. Here's Elstone off the right foot. Looks for Clayton, ball sliding off the surface. The rain is getting heavier. He goes to Eilert. Wanted to go quickly, not the greatest of kicks. Fun. Biarchi. Now Waterhouse, clever, round on the left foot. Waterhouse astray with the kick, well astray, no. Minor score, at least it crept in for the minor score for Clive.
Tends to go to his left a lot, doesn't he, Clive? You can see he tried to work back in. Well, that's not a bad thing because he worked back inside then. Just like to see him try to get on his preferred foot, his right leg.
1 goal, 3 and 1 out on the full for Waterhouse today.
He's kept moving. Lights are on here at Alberton. Very dark. Floriani works it to the line. That was deliberate, but on a day like today, you're a harsh umpire if you give that deliberate, even though it was.
Yeah, certainly there was no thoughts in John Floriani's mind to keep that ball in, but that's the percentage play that John Floriani brings to his side. Not going to be bright. He's not going to be highly skilled. He's just a really fierce competitor.
Missed out on last year's grand final, Floriani. And the ball is out of bounds once again. There's Brett O'Hara. Justin Cicolella in the foreground there with doing all the chat to Mark Stevens, acting skipper today, number 51 for the Eagles. Very much in control of what's going on out there with the game plan. And he's stepped up pretty well into Gavin Colville's shoes, who's missing today with osteitis pubis. And let's hope he can get back into football. Cicolella with the handball to McKenzie, who's been important for them. So too this man in Peter Fiacci, who drills the pass to Mark Passador right on the wing out of side. Passador goes to half forward. Rugelo's on the ground, replaced Knights a moment ago, to Floriani. Just threw it on the boot in hope. King can't cut a break against Archie. Thought he might have gone off the ground. Taken by Eilert for the Magpies, who measures the kick. And Funk takes the mark at half back.
Magpies under plenty of pressure. Funk takes his time. Now he tries to square it. He was thinking about it. Not the greatest of kicks, really. Brown did well, took the mark. Fiacci came in late. The hand pass went off to Eilert. Eilert now down to half forward. The two ruckmen, Jakes and O'Hara, combined to bring the ball to the ground. Now it's off to McDowell inside 50. Waterhouse could have been thrown out of there. The umpire called play on. Certainly Magpie fans thought he was thrown out of there. We'll get a ball up at half forward for the Magpies. Treeby, the last man up. Looked like two hands in the back.
Yeah, it certainly did. But look at the Eagles here. You can see they pile in on top, trying to just disguise there, trying to hold the ball into the umpire.
Stokes clever. Floriani off to Stevens. Stevens goes long and direct. He's looking for Inkster. Inkster just taken off the ball, and Eilert taken over near the line. Neither player really wanting to take possession. That's the result of the interpretation that says you must knock it out if you take possession, or otherwise surrender the ball. Just quickly, scores from up the ground. As I said, South Adelaide 11 points over West Adelaide at half-time at Moolunga. North Adelaide trailing Glenelg by 21 points, remembering that Glenelg has won 4 of the 5 previous contests against the Roosters, and Sturt trailing Norwood by 4 points at half-time at Unley. There's a free kick, and again the Eagles turn it over in their favour, and that wasn't the greatest of kicks from Cicolella, usually the most skilled of players. Sliding in there, Steve got the reward. No, he didn't. Umpire comes in, says we'll have a ball up near the centre circle. The fans from the Magpies certainly appreciating the return of the very desperate Alfie Steed.
I reckon they've all got a rev up at half-time from Timmy Ginniver. They've come out with some purpose, even though the Eagles have kicked the first one. Treeby to Passador. They go inside 50 again. Now King take the mark. Archie fell over, but King's second effort was tremendous. He knocked it away. Umpire said that's okay. Handball over the top by Rugolo. Elstone will be happy to see it to the line, along with Rugolo. Boundary throw in. I think they would have copped the spray at half-time in the Magpies. They can't finish their work, but they've come out with some intent.
Would have been interesting to see if Tim could actually get the smile off his face, as you say, Wheeler of the ABC over many years, see if he actually had some sort of grunt about him.
I don't think we would have seen the pearly whites. Here's Powell, who a little bit more time than he perhaps thought, and just puts it through for one behind. I don't think we'd have seen the shiny pearly whites from Tim at half-time. I think he'd have been grating the teeth together.
Yes, I would expect, being his first day in charge, that he would have really been probably disappointed with their attack on the footy and probably their decision-making when they have won the footy.
Magpies find some space. Biaggi goes to centre wing, looking for Funk. Good stretch. Funk looks around now. The runner through the middle of the ground is Mark Clayton. The experience of Clayton. He goes wide to Funk again. Catches it in stride. Inside 50 he goes, looking for Waterhouse. Flying in the middle of the pack was Matthews. Was well rode by Brown, who was taken high. Shattuck extremely aggressive in the tackle, and behind play Mark Stevens very slow to get up. We'll see how that happened. Just slipping over.
Just the right arm was high, wasn't it? I mean, it was a really good tackle other than the right arm. But Tony Brown, that's what his job is in this game now, to get front and centre. They're going to kick long to their key forwards. Clive Waterhouse is going to present himself. He needs McDowell, Brown, Jeremy Clayton, etc. to get front and centre for him.
33 points to margin as Tony Brown comes in. a Magarey medalist in his first season in the SANFL. He drives it long, he kicks a goal. Badly needed by the Magpies.
As you can see, goals, especially into whatever slight breeze there is for the Magpies, they're going to become a premium. And you can see they brought it back in the central corridor for one of the few times today. You can see this tackle just by Aaron Shattuck, who's been very good at full-back. Just a little bit high, got Tony Brown over the shoulder, and importantly, the captain's goal from Tony Brown just breathed some life back into this contest.
11 possessions for Tony Brown, but the busiest Magpies are Cameron Eilert and Ross Funk, each with 18 possessions.
The challenge is for the Magpies to string a couple of together. They haven't quite been able to do that this afternoon. It's back to 27 points. Normally the Eagles in this situation take the centre clearance and push it forward. The job at hand, there's Ron Fuller, the job at hand for the Magpies is to kick another one.
And how important again is that early lead when they were able to get out of the blocks with Fergus Watts a couple of goals. It's now really starting to pay the penalty for Port Adelaide.
The legs will get tighter naturally as it goes on. 9 minutes into this third term. And a ball up in the centre of the ground. Magpies need the next one. Eagles can pretty much snuff them out, you'd think. Inkster kicks it inside 50. Morrison buffeted off the ball. Archie came through. Ball just squeezed out. Comes to Elstone. Eilert was the man who squeezed it out. Elstone got to Polton. Finesses. Looks for Jakes in front. Stevens has been there all day. Front and square was Inkster. To Peter Fiacci, who's just knocking up, getting the football to Powell. There's another ball magnet. Powell let himself down with a kick and Morrison floated in. Magpies have an opportunity to create from the outer side of the ground. Di Pasquale kicks it that way to the run of Funk, who's really run forward quite often this afternoon in the contest. Funk's got the mark. A couple of kicks out from goal. Wants to go to the pocket to Waterhouse. And that's nearly the first or second time they've really pinpointed Waterhouse on a lead, but this will set him a task from right on 50, but he might get the journey here.
Yeah, I expect him to get the journey, but they're very one-dimensional as they go forward. It's all Clive Waterhouse. You'll find the Eagles will start double-teaming him. It'll be very hard for Clive to take marks.
No Stevens, no Evans. Waterhouse gives it a ride, gives it a real ride. Lovely kick by the former Fremantle Docker. That would please that man, Tim Geneva. It's back to 21 points.
And that's what Clive Waterhouse does bring to this competition and to the Magpies. They switch the play to the outer side, and Ross Funk, that we saw earlier, had a number of possessions, is able to pinpoint that as he goes forward to Clive Waterhouse. And look, anything inside for 50 is certainly within his range. So Joe Pedler just needs to get on top because, once again, Clive Waterhouse is very much a confidence player.
Close that margin to 21 points. Inkster wants his left foot high out of the middle, just carries the 15 metres. Ball punched to the ground. There's Funk again. Hands off to Eilert. Steed running into space. Chest mark for Steed. Could look up. Not the greatest of kicks. Looking for Brown. He found Floriani instead. Wrong colours. Here's Stevens. Wants to switch the play. He'll have to run and deliver. This will have to be a good kick. Clayton coming across. And bang! Clayton goes down. And Shattuck has words. Shattuck now just kicks it down the wing, and I'm distracted there by the fact that Clayton is still down. Boy, that was some clash, and Jeremy Clayton is perhaps unsure whether he's in South Australia or Victoria at the moment.
I think it was actually a clash of heads if we get a look here, and it is just above, and I think you'll find there's already an egg on his right cheek from where that clash was actually made.
Very brave, Jeremy Clayton wants to get back into the action. Polton drives Fiacci into the ground. Eagles share the ball in tight. Rugolo overruns it. Drags down Polton. He's desperate as well. Inkster with another high kick just quickly down to half forward. Morrison shuffles it out. Off the left foot went Elstone. Clayton from behind was late and high according to the umpire. And free kick will come to Treevey. Treevey looks for Watts, who's on the lead, but he opts against that. Now he decides he'll go long in search of King. And at the front, the Magpies defenders. Polton, one of them. Hand pass out, Morrison. Dangerous hand pass. Clayton in trouble. Didn't dispose of it correctly. Play on. O'Hara did well. Cicarella off to Stokes. Could have been a throw. Stokes slips a hand pass to Inkster. That wasn't advised. Inkster was looking to shepherd at the time. We get another ball up, 21 points to margin. It is heating up, and coming off the ground is Clayton by the looks. So is there any blood there, or does it just look like he's not in control of his faculties at the moment?
Yeah, I think he's just a bit groggy. He didn't want to come off the ground. Craig Ebert spent a minute or so trying to convince him, but he has come off, and Chad Davis into the middle.
Gutsy performance by Clayton. He won't shirk the issue, and the man that collected him looks like he's coming off as well with the blood rule. That clash of heads. Both players fired up, and now they're sitting on the pine. Darzanos, the man coming on. Aaron Shattuck looks okay down there, Mark. We'll come to you in a moment. Ball at half back for the Magpies, half forward for the Eagles. Elstone can't get through. The Inkster tackle. Jared Polton hovering as well. I don't think Jared Polton's quite done enough to see himself back in the Port Adelaide power side.
6 and 4.
Just needs to get a bit more of it than that. Cameron Islet couldn't take it. Quick hands, McKenzie. Out to Sikalala. Sikalala threw it on the boot, but a lovely tackle by Clayton. That's the remaining Clayton on the ground in Mark Clayton. And there's Aaron Shattuck with a bit of claret coming out of that, just at the top of that left eye.
Michael, no real problems at all with Aaron Shattuck. I think just a clash of heads between himself and Clayton. He'll be patched up and he'll be back on very soon.
Pasquale. Clever got it to Davis. Morrison now in the chain. I want to set her up soon. Jake's on the lead. That's the target. O'Hara was across there, punched it to the front. Nicely done. Inkster can get it. Opts to knock it on in the direction of Treevey, or rather, that man in Watts. Off the outside of the foot, Stevens goes down to half forward, manages to wrong foot his player. As a result, Lees with the free kick. Three of them standing in the middle. Lees opts to just take his time. Finally, he's going to switch the play. Nobody behind this player in Islet, so he chips it forward again. Morrison with the mark. Very un-Port Adelaide-like. Finally, Morrison breaks, and he'll kick long this time. Morrison down to half forward. O'Hara from behind. Missed everything. Ball over the back. Floriani to take on Jakes. Floriani is swatted aside. Comes now Cockatoo Collins. Clever from him. Floriani takes the mark play on. He didn't dispose of it correctly. And now he'll get a free kick for in the back. And the Magpies far from impressed by that. Square the ball to Darzanos. Fergus Watts, meanwhile, struggling behind play. We'll get a look at how he's injured himself. Appears to have damaged an ankle, perhaps, behind play. Pedler with a hand pass over the top, and they head towards Watts. And now they head away from Watts as Darzanos gets away with running a considerable distance.
Steed took the mark and gave it to Matthews. Matthews kicks long to Jakes. Stevens in front and square. Cockatoo Collins tried to dribble it through, and it just barely went through for one behind. But if you are going to kick goals, here's Fergus Watts. Just got spun around there in the ankle by the look of it.
Just his right ankle there, just gets caught under Clive Waterhouse. Seems to be okay, seems to be running it off.
Eagles again. Both sides able to take the ball from these defensive positions after they're behind and get the ball to wing without too much of a challenge. Darzanos, not the greatest of kicks. That hasn't helped his side. Comes to Jakes for Port Adelaide. He goes backwards to Lees. Was taken late. Umpire said play on. His delivery was perfect. Brown played on. Caught the Eagles napping somewhat. He goes towards Cockatoo Collins out of bounds in the forward pocket.
Lovely work by Simmons.
Yeah, great desperation. Just don't be surprised if Spiro Darzanos suddenly finds himself having a little sit down after his last two. Bring the ball back inside into contest. So we had a look at Aaron Shattuck all patched up and ready to go.
Don't know about you, Andrew. I get the feeling Port are back in this contest. Another couple of goals, and the last quarter is set for a beauty. They are pushing forward. Powell got it away to Robert Fiarchi. Just touched it on the ground. Long kick at the back, Elstone. So that all of a sudden the Eagles' kicks are not hitting targets. Elstone in the middle. Good kick. Finds Funk. Funk's got a man on the overlap, and that is Lees. Lees is running, uses his non-preferred. You can tell Steed, who's been important, tried to kick it around the corner. Lovely kick, found Brown. Magpies get the next goal. It's back to 15 points. Kick by Brown is a beauty to Clive Waterhouse, who takes the mark on the lead. He'll kick from 45, not beyond him. He'll get the distance easily. and the Magpies are coming back.
They certainly are. They are switching the play. They are taking risks with whatever conditions. The conditions are probably drying out a little bit. But Clive Waterhouse looms as the only danger from the Eagles' defence, so they really need to give Joe Pedler some help.
He's kicked a couple, 2 goals, 3. Waterhouse from 45. Lovely kick. Back to 15 points. And this makes the next goal so important.
It certainly does, and the centre break becomes all important. So they switch it once again to the outer side. Tony Brown, natural left footer, brings the ball inside. Just puts it out in space. Beautifully weighted kick in front of Clive Waterhouse. And importantly, Clive went back and nailed the goal. So the Magpies really are on a charge here. It'll be a good test to see if the Eagles can continue their positive attitude or whether or not they fall back into the traits that we've had in previous 2 weeks.
9 injury-interrupted seasons in the AFL for Clive Waterhouse, but he's a great player at this level when he's fit. He's a great player at AFL level when he's fit. Here's Biaggi. Oh, he took on his player and got away with it. Here's Clive. Just toe pokes the ball. Shattuck came. So did McKenzie. McKenzie was good. McKenzie was steady. He found Treby. Treby can straighten, go through the middle corridor. He does. Pops it up. Watts with the lead. Good mark. Good comeback from Fergus Watts. If he can get off the ground quickly, he's got a couple of players running wide from him. And he opts to play on. Rugolo, inside 50. Inkster! Well, he was one of the players running quickly down into the forward line. His Port Adelaide opponent, I didn't catch who it was trailing him, and in the end, Inkster made it to the marking contest and over the 2 players contesting. And Fergus Watts looks okay after that. And he's Pasquale, the opponent there, just lagging behind, and Inkster able to come over the 2 players who were wrestling and should kick a goal. Does kick a goal. Badly needed again just to repel the Magpies' efforts.
And importantly for the Eagles, they did move the ball quickly as Fergus Watts just getting a little bit of treatment, just trying to fire him up there at centre-half forward is Elstone. But Fergus Watts is one of the very few times they've gone to him one-on-one, and he's just a bit too good for Morrison one-on-one. And they moved the ball quickly, kicked it to a dangerous spot, and Josh King was able to hold Corey Archie out of the contest. And Tim Inkster came across the side, gets an important goal for the Eagles. It's once again an important centre break again.
Tim Inkster just 1 kick in the first half, but 5 in this quarter.
Plenty of chat out there. Thanks for that, Ian Mogridge. Statistician on ABC Television Football. Ball paddled forward by Port. They will try and push it forward where they can. Steed. And he was Noble, was Steed. And we'll get the ball up. There's Tim. And you can read lips, you'll know what he said.
That's just that reaction to that last goal and how important it was in the context of the game.
Another blood rule, have we? No. Umpire is throwing it up. Wet conditions at Alberton, the home of the Magpies. Treby, his kick. Rugolo just got a hand on it. Passador to Rugolo. Eagles go forward. If they kick another one, it'll stop the Maggie run for sure. Here's Powell. 45 metres and closing. It will bounce through. Well, if the Inkster goal wasn't as steady, the one from Powell certainly re-establishes some ascendancy in this game for the Eagles. And there is Alfie Steed with a bit of blood coming out of the head.
Just an important take and a good vision here by Vinny Regalo. Turned back inside. Luke Powell, who's ran hard forward all day, just had to get this on line. It was always going to skid straight. You can see it just skid straight there. Just had to get it on line, and it bounced beautifully through. Kicks his second for the day. And Josh King just did a good thing. He let out, created that space in behind him.
Luke Powell. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, Luke Powell, 13 kicks and 8 handballs today.
Just 9 possessions last week, 21 so far in this match. Here he comes again. Not a possession, throwing the ball or dropping the ball or not disposing of it correctly to give it the proper title. Clayton goes wide to Davis, or Biaggi, I'm sorry it is, and Biaggi up to half forward. That's Davis. Kick to himself, otherwise. The long sleeves, he goes inside 50. Waterhouse the target again. Across the front, Clive. Ball punch to the front. McKenzie lost his feet. Steed lost the ball. McKenzie came back again. Still it's inside. Toe poke towards the line. And around 70 metres from the Port Adelaide goal, it's out of bounds. That was Stokes with the toe poke as Biaggi takes a seat.
Jeremy Clayton has recovered from that knock with Aaron Shattuck earlier in the term, and he's back in the ground.
Thanks, Siders. Jakes got the better of the ball. Kick was smothered from Simmons. Now, that looked like a throw. Lindsay. It's like a cake of soap, though, so it just squeezed out of the big man's hands. Not 15. Umpire call play on. You heard that. Funt comes in, applies a tackle, says why not. No holding the ball, says the umpire. Simmons, the man who was in front there. Treby handled the ball well, then tried to handball it to himself. Would have been perhaps more advised to go towards the boundary line. In the end, umpire will come in, still says play on. Finally, it's over the boundary line. Throw it in, umpire. Let's get on with it. Michael.
3 goals each in this term. 27 points at half-time. It's 27 points at the moment. So the Magpies, for all their hard work, haven't been able to dig in. Davis, third man in. Cockatoo Collins can't shrug the Robert Piarchi tackle. Umpire almost loses the pip out of his whistle, and he'll ball it up on the outer side flank in front of Alan Scott headquarters.
Just feel if the Maggies get a goal here, they can manufacture something in the last 2 or 3 minutes. Just gives us momentum going into three-quarter time. Just some belief in this last quarter. They can perhaps overrun the Eagles.
The Eagles have had all the answers so far. McKenzie looks for Simmons, tucked in on the boundary. What a bad kick out of there. Mickeljohn couldn't take the mark and put a fingernail on it and knocked it out. Boundary throw in, 24 minutes gone. Luke Powell with the last goal at the 21-minute mark. Terrific running goal, his second for the Eagles. That 27-point break is effectively that 5-goal lead that they got out to early in the first term, as Andrew Rogers has been talking about. Treby to Powell. McKenzie, just a little kick, finds Stokes, who's so productive. He gets it to Rugolo. Rugolo, outside 50, launches a long drop punt. King, his marksman's been Archie, who's been outstanding right in the last line of defence. His kick out looking for Polton. Well done by Stevens to get in front. The 2 AFL listed players battle. Here goes Watts, also AFL listed, with the Crows. Kicks inside 50, ball thumped away. Clayton's there, Passador, surely a free kick. He just grabbed him, and Mark Passador could kick an extremely vital goal right on the cusp of three-quarter time.
Yeah, we spoke how important it was for the Maggies, but obviously equally important for the Eagles, just to really race away and take some real steam out of this Port Adelaide comeback. By no means a gimme, but with a person of Mark Passador's experience, he's paid to kick goals. He should really kick this goal.
He hasn't missed one today. 3 straight in my book for Mark Passador, who came across as a goal kicker mark.
Just as Mark Passador lines up, Justin Sigalella coming off the ground, Darzanos on.
Mark Passador needs to work it right to left. It's coming around, but not far enough. So he blots the old copybook.
Yes, it's been a welcome return to form for Mark Passador today. He was sadly out of sorts the last couple of weeks. Certainly worked harder today, presented himself more, and once again was one of the key personnel earlier who gave the Eagles this handy lead.
Magpies work the ball from the back. Elstone can come to Clayton. He does so. That's Jeremy Clayton back on the ground, as we said, after that heavy knock. The loopy hand pass. Elstone wants the bounce, fortunately gets it. Met by Treby after he handballed it off, and further afield it goes now to Islet. Tried to push off Darzanos, who did well. Ball slips now over the back. Eagles have the runners at half back. They share it. Shattuck, he's away, and perhaps shouldn't have taken a bounce. Powell had a few kicks this afternoon as Powell shares it wide with McKenzie. Darzanos is running for him. So's Passador over the top. That's where he goes. Passador, Darzanos is free. And Clayton did well to close down the mark before Passador could get the kick off. Passador to the lead from Rugolo, who relaxed and as a result dropped the ball. Davis was there for Port Adelaide, so was Elstone. He got the hand pass away. Now Davis has another opportunity. He's pulled down, should be holding the man, you'd think. Certainly the Magpies thought so. Umpire comes in and says, I'll have it. What did you think, Andrew?
If they're consistent, that was certainly no worse than the Mark Passador goal, but also there was also a high one there on Daniel Lees just at the end there, so just a couple of missed umpiring decisions there for the Maggies.
Wet conditions just making that handling so much harder than it was at the start of the game. Rugolo, or rather Stokes, high, long, in the middle of the pack, great mark. And did well with Simmons in the middle, not Simmons, Simmons in the middle of the pack.
Oh, look, it's extremely courageous, but you don't get another look at the work of Josh King, who actually protected him really well from Corey Archie. Looks a tremendous courage by Dale Simons, but Josh King deserves some plaudits there for protecting his teammate.
25 metres out just to well and truly restore the balance for the Eagles, and he does so. Simmons with a goal, and the Eagles will go into three-quarter time very, very confident.
Yeah, we spoke about the late goal for the Maggies. Well, unfortunately for them, the Eagles have kicked the one-goal one, and just Matty Stokes won an important ball there at half-forward, and Dale Simons just never takes his eye off the footy. You just see there, Josh King just able to get enough on Corey Archie just to protect him, and importantly went back and kicked the goals. So it'll be a pumped up the Eagles at three-quarter time, and the Maggies, well, they will go in a little bit stunned.
King's done some hack work, a lot of hack work up forward, hasn't he?
Yeah,
So
he has.
far, he's taken a buffeting.
At the start of the day, all Ron Fuller would have asked him was to compete against Corey Archie and bring the ball to ground, and he's certainly done that job.
Massive players around the football. Must be very close to three-quarter time at Alberton Oval. A 34-point lead after that goal from Simmons to the Eagles. Port would like a late one. Cockatoo Collins inside 50. Brown sits under it. I think Joe Pedler said, leave it to me, Tony. He got the call. Funk wrapped up in the tackle. Peter Fiacci looks for Passador, can't take the mark. Di Pasquale, Passador kept his feet. Terrific work by the former Box Hill star. He kicks it long, and Archie, King, he may get reward. He dishes off. Here's an assist. Bazanos. One on the siren. A three-quarter time. Lovely coming goal, and there's Josh King's value. Once again, terrific effort at three-quarter time. The Eagles, 15-8, 98, lead the Magpies, 8-10, 58 by 40 points.
Just those three late goals really put a nail in the coffin of the Magpies. They were certainly competitive in that quarter, and they fought their way back into the game. But the Eagles were able to repel them late in that quarter, and just a late goal at Espirito Azonas. You can see the Eagles are all pumped up. We're going to look at the goal kickers. Passador, Watzel with 3, and Powell with 2 important goals in the midfield. And the shining light for the Maggies up forward has been Clive Waterhouse.
Gee, they managed to get back into that sort of danger territory at 15 points. But at three-quarter time, they really have the job in front of them, the Magpies. They'll need one of their best efforts to win this, you'd think. We look at those stats, they are still, as they have been all day, pretty even.
They are still even. It's just the way the Eagles have used it. And once again, I harp on Mark McKenzie, who's been very important up forward, but also Luke Powell with his decision-making and his clean handball inside has been important.
Well, Sturt playing Norwood at Unley this afternoon, but last week they took on South Adelaide. South Adelaide going into that match with 4 wins in a row, and they really looked set like they could really challenge Sturt at Unley, but that wasn't to be the case. And in fact, Sturt came away with a very, very comprehensive win, and one that really has given South Adelaide something to think about, a 35-point victory for the Double Blues.
I would expect so. I mean, South Adelaide were really good. They'd beaten Central Districts, they've beaten the Eagles. They really touched Eagles up at Woodville Oval. But Sturt, given their credit, they've just sort of done enough early in the year when they were really challenged by South last week. They were really good, and they've really stepped up. They're top of the table at the moment, and they really look as though they are the real deal.
Well, you'd think so. As we just look through some of these highlights, and you see the difference came for Sturt the week before, and they were able to find some key forwards. Luke Jajura has been important coming from the ACT as one of those key forwards, and they've also managed to find Chambers on a more regular basis, Brant Chambers. And South Adelaide through Michael Davis there getting a goal. He was important in their victory over the Eagles.
Yeah, they certainly have. But their on-ball brigade was really good. They showed pace, and they moved the ball quickly, and this is obviously early in the game because Sturt really outdid them late in the game. South was certainly competitive, and in the print meter, Robert Pyman was saying how they were really good early, but then they just fell away as the game wore on. And Sturt are a good side. They've got key forwards who can take a mark. The on-ball brigade's as good as anyone in the competition.
Except for that.
Yeah, except for that. But look, they are a very good side. skirt, and especially at Unley Oval, they're going to be very hard to beat this year.
It's a third straight win against South Adelaide. They've won their past 10 in a row against the Panthers at Unley. You have to go back to 1984 to find a Panthers victory, so they have dominated those the South Adelaide at Unley.
And that's the problem there for South Adelaide. Consistently play at the high level they achieved against Centrals and the Eagles. To do it week in, week out is Robert Hyman's challenge along with his team.
Simon Feast missing this week. I think he's done a hamstring, but obviously he's another key to the Double Blues at least. And certainly, if we go back to that season in 2002, it was Feast who was up and running and setting his runners up in the midfield from the ruck position.
Yeah, they certainly got some key forwards, some height. They got some really good on-ballers. They got some really good pace. They're going to be a good side come finals time. 35
points the final margin. As we said, 3 goals for Brant Chambers, Luke Jajura and Jade Sheedy there. So they had pretty much a comprehensive win over the South Adelaide Panthers. Well, joining us now, we've mentioned the state game next week. It's coming up. And Daryl Hart, the state coach, is joining us. And Daryl, what are you looking for next week? You've had the side you've had the players for about 4 weeks. Is there anything that you've imparted necessarily in that time that you especially want to see next week?
No, we've just tried to pick the strongest side we can, the players that are in form, and get there on the day, and hopefully they'll do the job.
And Daryl, the side that you're looking to pick, have you just completely thrown everything out the window and said, right, we're only going to pick form players? Is that the idea?
Generally, I think all the time you always pick form players. South Australia at the moment is blessed with some really class on-ballers, rovers and ruck rovers, so we think that's where we're definitely going to have an advantage, and we've picked a number of players that we believe can run, cover the ground quickly and kick long.
Daryl, generally South Australia very much move the ball quickly, play on, skills. Victoria, hard in, tight in, tough. Is that where you really see your advantage?
I think we can match them there. I think our on-ballers are very good at the moment here, both with leg speed and ability to win the ball. So we're confident that's where we believe that's the best part of our game, and that's what we'll be trying to exploit the Victorians.
Daryl, you stepped aside, I guess, in some ways, pushed aside, if you like, at North Adelaide.
It's called the sack.
I didn't want to be too delicate about it.
No delicacy there.
Okay, so you haven't been coaching, obviously, for 12 months or so, but you've obviously had an opportunity to look around the SANFL. You've been coaching, what, under 12s at the moment?
Yeah, my boys are out at Broadview in the local comp, so Mark Simpson and I coach them, and it's been good fun. So maybe I should have done that before I tried coaching men, but no, it's been a good, the kids love it. The junior footy's alive and well in the northern suburbs, and it's a great competition we play in.
Well, good luck next week. It'll be very interesting to see how Victoria and South Australia shape up. We'll have that match from 2:30. Thanks for joining us this afternoon, Daryl.
No worries, boys. Thanks
and
a lot.
as we said, next week, 2:30, Victoria versus South Australia from the Port Melbourne ground, and we look forward to that, and we look forward to Sodas telling us what's been going on downstairs.
Well, Neil, the players have split up from their group. Port Adelaide were pumped up. Let's hear what Timmy Ginniver had to say.
We've done a lot of hard work, boys, to let those last 3 goals come in. That was a lot of hard work, boys. Real hard day at the office, and we just let it go. Just let it go at the minute. Now, Jimmy, you with me? Yeah. You with me? You know what's going on here? You are the man that's going to win the game for us. Jimmy, you're the man that's going to win the game for us. This bloke's going to do all the hard work. Battling, you're going to come over top, smash it our way every single time. And you all are going to know where it's going. You're going to run onto it, and we're going to get goals galore. All right? It's going to be raining goals at the end of the day. We're going to have one of the best wins we've ever had at this over.
Well, of course, Timmy Ginniver was disappointed. The boys worked very hard in that third term to get within touch. 3 late goals by the Eagles have given them, well, a nice enough break at 3/4 time. Clive Waterhouse, he's pumped up because he just said to the boys, just put it out in front of me, I'll do all the work. Let's see if he can do it. Here's Michael Maney.
Thank you, Mark Soderstrom. Big task that Tim Ginniver has set his team to win this game. They trail by 40 points into the last quarter of round 8 SANFL football. They'll kick to right of screen, the Magpies. O'Hara got a double tap on it. Funk sharked it. Eilert, who's been terrific off half-back for the Magpies, but he's kicked into no man's land for his team. Marked by Fiacci of the Eagles, looks for Rugolo. Elstone, good tackle, good enough to get it away to Fiacci, and then it comes back to Simmons to Stokes. Stokes' kick to Sikalala. Well, they continue on, the Eagles, as Fiacci just ran forward. Well, Sikalala thought about it for a second or two, but we'll go back. Normally a good kick for goal. He's kicked 1 goal, 1 this afternoon, the acting skipper.
Yeah, There's some good pace off the half-back line there by Rob Fiarchi. Attacked the footy, got it back again. He was able to get it to Matty Stokes. Just the presence. Found Justin Sickler in space as he went forward.
Sikalella kicks it across the face of goal. They fly. O'Hara again with a second effort. Kicked around the corner as a goal by Rugalo. Well, they make the most of their opportunities they have today. And Vinny, Bucci's first of the afternoon. It's out to 46 points. And I don't care how good Mickeljohn plays for the Magpies. I don't think it's going to happen.
He's certainly a coach in his Tim Jenner. He's optimistic there at three-quarter time. And this will make him less optimistic. You can understand why Justin Sickler didn't want to really, tried to pass it off. Realised he was outside his distance. Brett O'Hara just created a really good contest, and Vinny Rugalo, a bit out of touch also in previous weeks, just kept his opportunist goal.
Well, they've won 2 of their last 3 contests at Alberton, the Eagles. And this afternoon, they'll make that, you would think, at this stage, 3 of their past 4. Quick scores from other grounds. Sturt coming off a big victory over South Adelaide. At this moment, at three-quarter time, down by 27 points to Norwood, the bottom side. Very interesting. Traditional foes, Norwood overcoming Port Adelaide, and then that was 2 weeks ago, and then 27 points the better of Sturt at the moment. Glenelg, well, they're overcoming North Adelaide by 44 points at Prospect. Another amazing result. South Adelaide by just 9 points at Noarlunga against West Adelaide, and again that's actually a bit of a surprise. The ball inside 50 coming the other way. You might have seen that blur, and Port Adelaide's turned the ball over. Simmons with an open goal. It's that easy.
And it's just getting a bit ugly at the moment for the Magpies. Look, it's a great attack on the footy. We can see the Port Adelaide player come through here. Just turned it over quickly to Dale Simons, and importantly finished with a nice goal. So just get the feeling here that the floodgates may open and the Eagles might well run away with this last quarter and really have a nice percentage boosting win.
Lovely goal by Simmons. 2 to him. Eagles by 52. Bit of pride at stake now for Port Adelaide. On their home track, to get thumped would be a huge embarrassment. Fiarchi's kick was touched off the boot. Dreamy collected the footy, but he got a free kick.
Let it go! Go back, take your kick! Go back, take your kick! That's it there, play on!
Umpire saying go back, take your kick. Floriani receives, kicks inside 50. King doing the hack work again. Passador knocked it to Rugalo, who couldn't stay on his feet, but he scrambles his way to the ball. Now he needs to knock this out. The umpire will take it away from him. Umpire Williams says, oh, I think I'll have a bounce just for a change.
It's a tale of 2 halves, isn't it? We saw the ball earlier. They were very hot on that.
Yeah.
In the second half, they've certainly put the whistle away as far as that decision is concerned.
Mickeljohn knocks it down and not to a teammate. That trickles out. Peter Fiarchi been terrific. Let's have a look at the Port bench. And Cockatoo Collins, he's not going to return, but look at that.
Really think if they're going to kick goals, he probably needs to be on the ground.
Well, I don't think they're not obviously not going to win, and I don't know what sort of fitness Cockatoo Collins is in. Maybe he's just got a hit on that shoulder. We know he's had some problems with it, but maybe they're just putting him in cotton wool and saying this one's gone. Let's see if we can get you right for next week. I think Matthews may be the other player sitting on the bench. Free kick from a long way back by umpire Tony Day. Umpire Williams didn't see the infringement. It'll go to Mickeljohn, and umpire Day called that from at least 60 metres away. Ball's with Elstone. He got it back to Clayton. It's Jeremy Clayton who finds Brown.
Brown takes his time, something that the Magpies can't really afford to do in this circumstance. Goes wide to Eilert, ball skips on. Eilert will do well to keep it in, he does. Back to Clayton. He's always clever. Round on the left foot, goes short. Morrison dropped what he perhaps should have taken, and then he's dropped by Sikalella and holding the ball. Well, obviously the umpire ruling there that he'd backed in and had an opportunity. That's umpire Williams ruling that he'd had an opportunity, decided to back into Sikalella. And Justin Sikalella, as we said, the acting captain, he was up to the task, and he pulled down Morrison. The kick wasn't the best. He wouldn't be happy with that.
I don't think Andrew Morrison will be relying on that to grab this game from the ABC.
Colton inside 50. Archie's been thrown forward and his arm was pulled away by Stevens. Archie could go over the top quickly. Goes by hand to Davis. Davis slots a goal.
Yes, and just a consolation goal there, but Chad Davis had a couple of opportunities early in the first quarter to get his goals and unfortunately didn't finish for the Magpies. But good move by Tim Ginnivan to push Corey Archie forward. He's going to provide a contest. They've sadly lacked some help up there for Clive Waterhouse. And Corey Archie just going to give you a contest. So look, a good challenge here for Mark Stevens, who has really dominated that position all day. So I'm just looking forward to that last 25 minutes of that contest.
First goal to Chad Davis for the afternoon. He's 32nd in league footy. Umpire said play on. You heard that. Powell, who in the clinches has been outstanding, to this man who, I don't know why he's not on AFL list, Matty Stokes, kicks forward. Lees did pretty well to get into the contest. Nice pick up by Elstone and a handball of sorts. Looks for Clayton, who's, I think, going up and down in the one spot at the moment. Jeremy Clayton, he's copped a couple of heavy knocks this afternoon, the number 2 for the Maggies, who keep pushing, but not a lot of skip in the step.
The only thing with Jeremy Clayton, I don't think he really hurts you enough with his possessions. They're generally short, generally don't hurt the opposition. I like to see him run and carry the footy more.
Well, he's kicked only 2 goals, so he doesn't hurt you inside the forward 50. Floriani, who's an honest contributor. High kick. Watts has gone out of the game. The second half. Eilert to Archie v Stevens. They both miss it. Shattuck to Peter Fiacci. Another possession to him. Stokes on the wing. They're just fiddling around with it a bit at the moment, the Eagles, just waiting for something to open up. The rain's abated. Go, Ian.
Yeah, 22 possessions for Matthew Stokes.
It's been terrific. Archie, not in stats, but his body work's been good. His kick's appalling. Roth Fiacci kicks it long, hoping for a fly. Good mark in front, paid to Di Pasquale. Josh King not happy. And
Just really need to just bring that to ground then. Didn't really take the mark, just need to bring that to ground.
the kick, it's Steed. Touched off the boot. Flicks over the back to Eilert. Eilert's got a man in short in Polton. The kick needs to be measured, and Polton takes the mark for Port.
Squares it immediately for Clayton. Taken to ground. Shattuck makes him earn it. He's made him earn it more than once today, has Aaron Shattuck. Clayton wants to go short. You can tell he's just waiting for a lead. Opts to go to his namesake, Mark Clayton, on the far side of the ground. Treeby came late, made Clayton earn the mark. There was no way he was going to play on in that situation. He does now. Goes long, just pops it up. Waterhouse taken to ground. Brown, hand pass off to Polton. From the angle, Polton across the face, minor score.
Just get the feeling it's all Clive Waterhouse. Whenever they look up, they're waiting for Clive Waterhouse to lead. They just need to find another avenue to goal. And if they can find that, just they really have only been one-dimensional for most of the day.
Luke Powell with a couple of bounces on the outer side, cuts through the wing. Looking for Watts. Not a bad day. Watts just pushes off. He's a talent. Umpire pings him for just holding onto the ball for too long. There's Spiro Darzanos, the number 14.
And Michael, he's just about to come on and replace the acting captain today, Justin Cicolella.
Good work, Mark. You managed to stay dry down there.
I certainly have. The umbrella working a treat.
Good work. Stevens looks for King. Michael John has never been in the contest all day. King working hard at ground level. Watts just fed it out to Inkster. Inkster's got Stokes and or Simmons. Simmons dishes off to Inkster on the right boot, looking for Passador. Well, when you're having a good day, particularly with Passador being a confidence player, it generally goes right through, and Mark Passador's lining up for goal number 4.
The Eagles worked it around really well. They didn't lose the footy, they didn't take control of the footy, and eventually it was Inkster who just able to give a nicely weighted kick to Mark Passador in the lead. And as I said, he's a confidence player. Been down in the last couple of weeks. Got a couple of early goals, increased his confidence, like the rest of the Eagles. And just a chance to finish off a good day for Mark Passador.
Looks to be running pretty freely this year. Had hamstring problems last year. Passador from 35 metres out. Puts goal number 4 for him. And it's out to 51 points. There's a happy Eagles supporter. Why wouldn't you be? They've given pretty good value for money today.
They certainly have. Here's the replay. You see Inkster just involved there. And Dale Simon just works it back. These Inksters just well-weighted kick. Didn't try to kick it too hard or pinpoint him. Passador just able to protect the ball with his body. Takes a relatively easy mark. Goes back and kicks a goal. And as I said, the Eagles well in control of this game.
Well, we talked about Shea Cockatoo-Collins just waiting to come back on the ground and replace his Island, but we talked about night games in the SANFL. It's becoming almost a night game, isn't it? It's just darkness closing in. I guess you don't appreciate that quite on the television monitors or television sets at home. Eagles go forward again. It's a crushing loss for the Magpies, you'd think. Get the ball out of defence. Eagles crowd in again. They get numbers around the ball, and they've had them for most of the day. Magpies got back to within 15 points at the 18-minute mark of the third term, but now it's been 7 of the next 8 goals scored by the Eagles. Mistakes are plenty now. The sting has somewhat gone out of the match. Treby, the man in there for the Eagles at the 12-minute mark. They have a comfortable lead, and then some, Andrew.
Maybe it tells us where the Magpies are at too. I mean, to go from the last 3 years where they haven't made the finals to make a really big leap and be really competitive in the competition, which is really tight, probably tells us as much about the Magpies as it does about the Eagles.
Petafiachi off the left foot, stretch from Lees, couldn't quite drag it in. Cockatoo-Collins, don't think he saw anybody. The cameraman down there, Mike Davis, perhaps he saw. He's taking this shot of Alfie Steed, just a little bit of blood for Steed in his comeback game.
Top ball getters on the ground. Cameron Islet 27, Luke Powell 26, 25 each for Daniel Elstone and Mark McKenzie.
John just leapt high. Biaggi just hesitated. Floriani, Clayton to Mark Clayton. Polton used the left boot a lot today, looking for Waterhouse in front of Pedlar. Pushes off him. Experience gives you that. He'll be caught from behind. Well done, Treby. The turnover. Good work. It ends up with Powell. Powell's got Shattuck. Shattuck can have a bounce or two. He muffed a bounce or two in the last quarter. He drills the pass in. Looking for King. King this way, that way. Got it back to Powell. Powell short kick does Zanos. Ball knocked away from him. Ball in dispute. Cockatoo-Collins just hacked it off the ground. Funk rode the bump okay. Jakes just solved Davis into all sorts of trouble. Jakes tries to come back and make up for it. He can't. He tries again. He tries to shrug it. Ugly bit of football by Jakes. And the big lumbering man in the end had no alternative than to try and hatch the footy. We'll get a ball up.
Just got to admire his persistence there. Could have been quite easy for him just to give the handball and then run away from the contest. He'll continue to compete, and Tim Ginnivan would like that in his players, and certainly in this last quarter he'll find a lot about his players.
Cockatoo-Collins couldn't get it. Free kick surely will go to Clayton. Driven into the ground. Free kick. There's Matty Stokes. And there's Clayton. Not happy with the treatment handed out by Vinnie Rugolo, and Clayton will take the free for Port Adelaide.
24 possessions.
That wasn't one of his better possessions, but it worked out. Clayton with the ball. Now to McDowell. McDowell on the far side of the ground as they try and stretch the Eagles' defence. McDowell down to Funk at half forward. Shattuck being called back. He's going to concede 25 in a moment. He doesn't. He gets away with it. Shattuck, however, doesn't make the tackle. Funk goes inside 50. Pedlar with the punch. Brown had to handball the ball and was content to dispose of it towards the boundary. At least that gives them a setup from the boundary throw-in as they make that interchange down there with Lindsay, I think it was, coming onto the ground.
It was, Neil. Another interchange too. Matty Stokes, who's a comeback game after hamstring injury, I should say. He's blowing pretty hard, but he has done quite well. He's been replaced by Cicarella.
Here's Funk around the corner and high. Waterhouse opposed to Pedlar, who punched the big cat in Archie. He gets one high. Umpire wanted Lau advantage. Mark Clayton thought he had a goal there. It'll come back, and Corey Archie will line up for goal.
If you had two of Archie, you may be in the hunt. One at full back and one at full forward.
Yeah, I called earlier then. I mean, Josh King was never going to really win the game for the Eagles. He might have chilmed in for one or two. His role was just to compete. Probably wasted back there, Corey Archie. He could have been pushed forward as a valuable forward to Clive Waterhouse. Look, if you couldn't hit Clive on the lead, at least you know you've got a contester that's going to contest, get your Crummers front and centre, and then you're able to kick maybe a winning score.
Well, the Magpies, I'll point this out, Andrew, they're number 2 in possessions in the league at 323 a game. Now, you wouldn't expect that from a traditional Port Adelaide lineup, so I guess John Cale and Tim Ginnivan taking a while to sort out the change that they want to make to this football side.
Yeah, it may well be a legacy of last year with Matthew Knights, where he tried to install a more running style, a very high possession game, and it's going to take some time for the players to readjust to the Jack Cale style of in and under, bang and crash, get the ball long to your forwards one-on-one. That way you're able to kick a winning score, and the players are just taking some time to adjust to that. Look, they'll get better as the year goes on. They're still developing as a side, and look, expect them to, towards the end of the year, to be really in amongst it.
Corey Archie's first goal of the afternoon. Inkster finds Sikalella at half forward. Sikalella, lovely kick. King, finally he got one. Well, he's been presenting all day, the number 29, and he finally got one to sit right on his chest. Corey Archie's gone forward, so that's left King to battle it out at full forward.
Just importantly, Justin Sigalella got back really quick off the mark there, so he was able for plenty of space for Josh King to lead into.
Kicked the first goal of the game, Josh King.
Seems like a long time ago.
It does. Thumping kick. Hooked it across the body. Going for distance, one behind.
Look, Josh King's a very honest competitor. He will present himself as he's done all day and compete really hard, bring the ball front and centre, and he's played his role today in this Eagles victory.
Not mistaken, the kick in for Port Adelaide. Turned over in the easiest of fashions. Passador could have a soccer goal. Clayton did well to rush the behind.
One of the very few times I've seen Luke Powell miss a target with his hand, but his hands in tight have been really good. But good desperation there by Jeremy Clayton. He'll find a lot about it. As I said, Tim Ginnivan, he would expect that from a player, even though it is the 18-minute mark of the last quarter. That's what is expected down here at Albert.
Lees, not a good kick out, and Rugolo in front of Polton was pretty keen to get it to Peter Fiarchi by hand, but he's gone back. Spots up a man in Powell, loose checking by the Maggies. But the Eagles using the ball pretty well in the conditions.
Just would expect with a heavy ball, he may well struggle for distance here. It's going to take his best kick.
It's his 10th mark today, 17th kick this one, and 13 handballs as well.
30 possessions to the number 7. He's re-emerging in SANFL footy. Gives it a long heave. That's a brilliant kick from outside 50 by Luke Powell. He really has got back into some pretty decent form after struggling last year.
I reckon he would enjoy Tim Cook last week, really stitched him up for the Roosters, just ran everywhere with him, and would have been a learning experience for Luke Powell. He would never have been tagged before, probably in the SANFL, and this week given some more freedom by the Magpies, he's really punished them. In tight, his hands have been superb.
Luke Powell with those 3 goals and 53 points, now the biggest margin of the game. The Eagles out by 53 points. Shattuck through the middle, he's important. And he comes against Shattuck, shows the ball, class. Handball forward to Sikalella from 50, just pops the ball up. Darzanos on the lead, so is King. They spoil each other. King gives it back to Darzanos. It was a throw, said the umpire. And Port Adelaide will take a free kick. You have to go back to 1998 to find the last time in the minor round that the Eagles lost 3 in a row. They've been consistent for years now, but just haven't been able to get a premiership out of it. Port Adelaide break, Jakes, high kick. And that advantage is Fiarchi, who takes the mark and looks around. He should have options because they've had options all day, the Eagles. And Fiarchi takes his time. Goes to Watts at centre half forward. They look for the fly. Oh, Sikalella hasn't been up that high for about 5 or 6 years. Takes some time perhaps to recover as Cockatoo Collins just puts the ball out of bounds. Craig Ebert, the runner for Port Adelaide, just trotting past.
The intensity. Hand him some oxygen.
Yeah, the intensity's really fallen out of the game now. The players really can't just wait. Once again, Shea Chocolatue-Collins, you see coming off. He just can't be right. I can't see how he could not be. They've struggled for a crumbing forward all day. We saw the type of magic he can bring to the table. Just can't see why he can't slot into this side.
Struggling with the body at the moment, Cockatoo-Collins. Davis, the long sleeves under that lot. Another ball up. This has been a real pummelling for Port on their home track. They absolutely hate this.
And given the conditions too, I mean, if it had stayed dry, you would have liked to have thought the Eagles might have won by even a little bit more.
Stick the nail in,
you'd
Andrew.
like to think that, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Really.
I've been on the back of some shellackins down here. I reckon I'm due one back.
We're just in the three-quarter time break, saw Andrew Rogers sharpening the knife this last quarter.
Straight in the bag of Tim Juniper, isn't it? He was one of our colleagues at one stage.
Well, you step over the line and you put your neck out.
You'll chop it off.
You haven't missed anyone today anyway, Andrew. Vinny Rugolo looks for Watts, who's continued to present for the Eagles. A real good kick. Powell in the van. Front and square Rugolo. Lovely vision. Terrific play. And Treby on the end of it. And he'll go back and have a shot. And Powell is struggling. Being crunched.
Yes, I wouldn't think the lace was even the right way on the Fergus Watts pass. He's got crunched by 3 Port Adelaide players. And just looked really brave in the air by all the players there.
Copped a hip in there, Luke Powell. Struggle. Well, you just take him off and whack him in cotton wool. As Treby from 45 curls it back. Oh, the Eagles are having a day out. And when they're hot, we know the boys from Woodville Oval are pretty hot to trot, and it's been going all their way today. There's Luke Powell, who, well, as I mentioned, I think it's a good idea to get him off. He's done his job, 30-odd possessions.
It's not probably what you need at the 22-minute mark of the last quarter when you're 8 or 9 goals in front. But look, he's been superb today, and thoroughly deserves the applause as he comes off. And Lee Treby deserves to give him a pat on the back for that goal.
And Moggy, I gather that's the last time we'll see Powell, so let's go through his
Yes,
stats.
10 marks, 17 kicks, 13 handballs and 3 goals too.
Maybe a candidate you'd think for maybe a vote from the umpires in the Magarey medal as Davis will go into goal, and you'd think he could convert from there, and he sprays it to the right, much to the delight of the smattering of Eagles supporters that are sitting in the Williams stand on this side of the ground.
Disappointing day for Chad Davis. He's in this side as a finisher, can finish. Good play, good transference of play there by the Magpies. Just needed someone to finish. That's what he's in the side for. Just disappointed that he can't finish there.
I'll tell you what, Eagles fans, soak it all up with Aaron Shattuck playing on your half-back line. He won't be in your side for too much longer, you wouldn't think. As Jeremy Clayton kicks forward, free kick to Waterhouse over the shoulder. Well, he's been their only forward. Stevens out of the game, Evans out of the game. They've lacked multiple scoring options, and Waterhouse is having to do it all himself, and it's a pretty tough task when the Eagles get back in numbers. They run so hard.
He's been the only market target they've had up forward, and really hasn't any help. McDowell hasn't been sided today. Shea Chocolatue-Collins been used on and off the bench. Tony Brown, when he's rested forward, Jeremy Clayton. They really haven't got enough out of their crumbing forward.
Well, they just about get the distance here, Waterhouse. Didn't have much of a run-up. It's a very, very high kick. I think it might have just cleared the pack for a goal, has it? Well, somebody made mention in that. You heard it on the effects, Mike. What's going on there? Just kicked that from 55 to 60 metres out. I thought he was perhaps on the edge of his distance.
Yes, and it's certainly gone through marking height. I mean, Paul Lindsay's just totally misjudged that for the Eagles and really should have got a hand on it. But look, he's a thumping kick by Waterhouse. And one of the many bright lights. We had a great view from goal umpire Cam. You can see through, that's gone through about chest high. So they really should have made the most. They really should have touched it on the line, the Eagles.
Marching back to 52 points. Funk slips their hand past to Wellstone. Just slipped, and that put Funk under pressure. Now it comes to Simmons, goes up in front of goal. King on the rebound, Passador off the left foot quickly. I think that was out on the full. Umpire thought it was a minor score. Goal umpire at least. So just that margin, stretching, 53 points.
Mark Passador, one of his better games for the Eagles today. Long kick, Treby just camped under it. McDowell hasn't done enough today. Nathan McDowell, good tackle by Lindsay. Darzanos, he's pretty keen to stay in this Eagles side. Kicks it long, hoping for a mark. Passador! Oh, we've got a fair bit of it too. King working hard. Flicks out to Peter Fiacci. Threw it on the boots. Clayton just got back in the nick of time. Kick needs to be good. And at the bootlaces of Matthews, he comes back. In fact, that was Self. Taken by Peter Fiacci, who blazes away and misses everything. The untidy football, but the players are pretty tired.
Yeah, you can see Peter Fiacci really one of these left side there. Ran out towards virtually the grandstand and had to hook it back and just couldn't get enough purchase on it. It's been once again another emerging player from the Eagles in the midfield.
Right over his head.
Di Pasquale came from the VFL. He actually represented the VFL against South Australia in that 2002 clash where the VFL won so convincingly. He drives out through the left foot. And Josh King getting some late touches. The big man opts to go in short and stabs the ball up in front of goal, 20 metres from goal in that danger area. Umpire content to let the players try and sort things out. Di Pasquale perhaps had a case for too high. And Darzanos appeals for the free kick. None forthcoming. Umpire Williams, Peter Williams, comes in to throw the ball up. O'Hara, just a flick over the back. Polton, lost possession, dangerous. Peter Fiacci socketed it forward and finally socketed through for the minor score by Self. And rushing it through for Port Adelaide. There's no rush in anything at the moment, is it? It's all just winding down.
I think they're just waiting for the siren to go here and put all the players out of their misery.
And misery it will be as Inkster cuts off an errant Jeremy Clayton kick. Big game next week. The state match, Victoria versus South Australia. Tune into that one, ABC television from 2:30. Chinese doctor time, 2:30, as Tim Inkster from 40 metres out hooks the kick. It's marked right on the line. No score. And the Eagles have been emphatic this afternoon. Tremendous effort by them. A 54-point thumping. 20-12, 132. There's Justin Sikalila. 11-12, 78. Port Adelaide. They have been thrashed unmercifully on their home turf, and a big win to the Eagles. They're back on track.
Yeah, they certainly are. They certainly increased their intensity around the ground today. They tackled hard. They worked hard for another. We saw a number of smothers early, and it was probably the start that really set them up. They were bright and brash early. Fergus Watts was heavily involved. We saw Mark Passador at an option up forward, and they controlled the midfield. Port Adelaide had a really good patch where they fought themselves back into the game. Just 3 late goals in that late in the third quarter really deflated their charge, and the last quarter was pretty much immaterial with the Eagles able to march on their way, and as I said, they thoroughly deserved their 54-point victory.
Yes, and they'll celebrate this afternoon a very, very good victory. One player who returned to form, Mark Passador, with 4 goals, is with Sodas.
Well, Mark, well done. 2 weeks have been pretty ordinary, haven't they? But a great way to return.
Yeah, have been Sodas. You know, we've probably been beaten the last couple of weeks at things we try and take a bit of pride in, so it was good this week. We got back to tackling hard and getting in there, and it seemed to work for us, so it was good.
A dark, wet, slippery day, but the delivery of the forward line was fantastic.
Yeah, they just put it out front, made it a lot easier. We kept the forward line open, so we were able to run onto it, which helped in a day like this.
And a big man next to you who's been playing in defence, Fergus Watts, also stood up at centre-half forward.
He's quite a talent, isn't he? I think he's going places, definitely.
Well, mate, you've got 2 weeks now. You can put your feet up, relax and enjoy that win.
Will do. Thanks, Otis. Cheers, mate.
Mark Soderstrom with Mark Passador enjoyed a good afternoon, and well, their reserves got flogged, the Eagles, and they returned the favour in the seniors, didn't they?
Yeah, they certainly did. You just wonder about the depth there at the Eagles. You know, Luke Toyer, saw Danny Wise, a number of others. Young Rock Harry was running around in the Port Adelaide Magpies today. it's going to severely test them. They really haven't got a lot to work with, so injuries are going to play a part as the season unfolds for the Eagles.
And Justin Cicolella will be pretty happy with his Eagles this afternoon. Without Gavin Colville, he missed 2 seasons ago. He missed a season with a reconstructed knee. When he's got osteitis pubis, you just wonder how Colville's going to come up for the rest of the season. But if Cicolella and the side plays like this, they won't need him, so to speak.
They have revolutionised their midfield, though. No longer are Gavin Colville and Cicolella the main players in there. Now you've got Dale Simon, young David Westbrook when he plays, McKenzie, a number of others who can step up and take all the charge of the midfield, where in previous years, as you can see, the full-time score there. The Eagles have dominated most of the quarters. Looking at that, they've won every quarter, probably bar the second quarter. So it really was a total domination of the game.
28 points at quarter time, 27 at the half, 40 at three-quarter time, 54 points the final margin. Interestingly, the Eagles averaging this season 32 shots at goal, number 1 in the league. And again this afternoon, 32 shots at goal. Clive Waterhouse leading the way with 4 goals for the Magpies. But as you suggested several times, Andrew, he was 1 out. And the only player really they targeted up forward for the Magpies, whereas the Eagles, Mark Passador with 4, and then you had Powell, Watts and Simmons, all multiple goal kickers.
And that is important. They spread their goal kickers around. So we look at the stats. Look, they don't favour the Eagles in a strong way, but look, I just felt they were cleaner under pressure. They hit more targets around the ground, inside 50s. Just that last quarter, they really stepped up to the plate and totally dominated the game in the last quarter.
Eagles all grouped around in the sheds at Alberton to enjoy, I would imagine, a very, very hearty rendition of their club song. Let's go down and have a listen. Not quite ready, but I'm sure they'll start up. Here they go. Ronnie Fuller and his Eagles very happy with a victory this afternoon at Alberton. They are hard to come by, there's no doubt about that. Victories at Alberton are definitely hard to come by, and you well know that.
Yeah, exactly. I reckon I played 8 or 9 times before I finally won one here, so you'd certainly treasure them down here.
Well, that's 3 of the last 4, I think, victories for the Eagles coming here to Alberton.
Yeah, as I said, Port Adelaide probably haven't got the same invincibility they had during the 90s. But look, they're on a rebuilding process at the moment. You get the feeling if they can get they've certainly got a stack of good players, get Jack's message through, they're half a chance to come good at the end of the year.
Port Adelaide now a bye, coming off a bye and a loss to Norwood by 6 points. They have a bye next week, as do the Eagles after that loss, so they've got plenty to work on.
Yeah, not an ideal preparation coming off a bye. They looked flat as they came, they jumped out of the blocks. The Eagles, they were really a million miles an hour early. They had something to play for.
Yeah, no doubt. They started very well, didn't they? We're going to have a look through just some of the action this afternoon. And Simmons getting bowled over early, and Fiachi getting a very, very quick, clean kick away over the shoulder for, that was the second goal of the afternoon, and they jumped out of the blocks to kick 2 unanswered to start the proceedings.
And this was very early in the game when the ball was dry, and the game was there to be won. And when Tim Ginnivan would ask his players to really stand up and have a physical presence on the contest and really create a contest, and unfortunately for the Magpies, the Eagles just really dominated. Too easy as well, which would be a concern for the Magpies. You can see a lot of these goals on screen. They're working their way forward into space, no pressure involved, and just the manning up with perhaps the Magpie midfield. And then you get a special bit of class here from Shea Cockatoo-Collins. Once again, I just feel as though he probably can't be sound, because he does bring something to the table if you're a Magpie supporter.
And Fiachi there, just out of a pack. Again, a couple of brilliant goals, but they were relying a lot, the Magpies, on some brilliant individual things, whereas, well, you just sensed that there was a little bit more cohesion about what the Eagles were doing.
Yeah, they certainly worked the ball cleaner, had more targets up forward. Clive Waterhouse, as I said, was a lone voice up there. And it wasn't until Corey Archie went forward that perhaps they actually added another dimension.
Well, the winning coach, Ronnie Fuller, is with Sodas, and I'm sure he'd have a smile on his face, Sodas.
Yes, thanks, Neil. Ronnie, a 9-goal win against Port Adelaide at Alberton, no matter what the conditions, is always worth taking, isn't it?
Look, the win was a win today, especially after our last couple of games. We're just happy to get the win in the end.
You're pretty happy with the way the boys went about it, the hardness and toughness in those conditions?
That's right, Mark. It was certainly nothing fancy. We just got back to what we'd been doing previously. I think we went away from that a bit, just doing the hard stuff. We just tried to make it a bit of a scrap, hard, tough contest, and let's see what unfolded, and unfolded our way, which is good.
Couple of changes. Up forward you had Fergus Watts last week played half-back and in the ruck. This time he went to centre forward. Stevens to half-back, Josh King in. Just a little tweaking of the forward line worked well?
Well, it was probably more brought about by Bocky being called up for tonight's game than anything. We certainly were going to start Steve-O forward and Bocky back, but we'd already decided to play Fergus forward this week. We just thought he needed a change of scenery.
Well, he did very well, Ronnie. Enjoy the break and look forward to Norwood in a couple of weeks' time. Well done today.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks a lot.
Thanks to Ronnie Fuller. Yes, the break next week. Victoria against South Australia at the Port Melbourne ground from 2:30 next Saturday afternoon, and then we'll return the following week to action in the SANFL. Our match of the day, North against South at Prospect. Plenty to look forward to in that match. Of course, there's a Friday night game and a couple more on Saturday afternoon as well. Thanks for your company this afternoon. We'll have all the results from around the grounds in our news at 7 o'clock. It was the Eagles by 54 here.